What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're here, Mobility Minute, another round. This week, we're gonna focus on a little more recovery. So a little more passive, some passive modalities. And we're deep in the gymnastics quarter, and I know a lot of you guys are feeling it in your shoulders. Most people are coming to me for a little bit of manual therapy, and it's all about the shoulders because gymnastics is just a lot of shoulders, right? Pull-ups, toes to bar, handstand walks, all that good stuff. We love it, but it can be hard on the shoulders. So we're gonna focus on a little bit of recovery. All you're gonna need is a little bit of floor space, ideally a lacrosse ball, yoga block, and either a peanut, which is two lacrosse balls kind of together, or you can use your foam roller as well. I'm gonna use my rad kit, again, in the description if you want your own kit. It is great, highly recommend. But yeah, so let's start with our soft tissue work. Let's get rolling. I lied, you will also need probably either a box or like the edge of a couch at some point. So later, just make sure you have access to something that's a little bit lifted. You can use the edge of a coffee table, right? We just need something that's a little bit higher than we are. So we're gonna start with a T-spine mobilization, focusing mostly on passive modalities today. Again, this is meant to be a recovery session. So I'm gonna use my rad roller because this thing is awesome. It's built perfectly for the spine, and especially what we're about to do with it, a little T-spine mob. But you are welcome to use a regular foam roller, or if you have a peanut, if you have the rad kit, you can also use the peanut. Now the peanut's a little more intense. It's gonna kind of get in there a little more, but still excellent mobilization for the T-spine. So let's get in to that. We're gonna kind of focus on the portion of the spine of the rib cage. So I'm trying to mobilize this section of my spine. So I'm gonna get this lined up. Again, if you're using a foam roller, you're just gonna put that foam roller right below your ribs. I'm sorry, not below your ribs, below your shoulder blades on your ribs. And we're gonna get right into that mid back. Now from here, I'm gonna cross my arms in front of me, and I'm gonna think about letting that foam roller push into my T-spine and letting my shoulders fall back. It's gonna be intense. You might get some pops. And then we're gonna crunch back up. And when we crunch back up, I want you to push into that foam roller. So I'm really trying to mobilize the segment of my spine that is directly on that foam roller. Oh yeah, right there. So when I crunch, I don't just crunch up in the midsection, I think about moving that portion of my spine. So I go into extension, and then I push into it flexion. And then I can move it up a little bit, go into extension, try to be pinpoint, right? Go right over that foam roller, not just arch your whole back, right? So just in that segment, and then press against it. And then arch, and then press against it. We're just trying to get some movement in that particular portion of the spine. So I'm not interested in arching my whole spine. I just want that segment that's on that foam roller or that rad roller to move. If you're doing this with a peanut, it's gonna be a lot more intense. Now, if your neck starts to get tired, you can hold your hands up with hold your head up with your hands. If you're gonna do that, let's get the elbows pointed to the ceiling, right? To really force the rhomboids open, similar to this position. We're just gonna keep moving that foam roller, get a few pumps each segment. And again, I'm really trying to move only at that portion that the foam roller or the rad roller is on, or the peanut, whatever I'm using. You're gonna get most of your movement, switch to hold my head, in that kind of mid to low thoracic. This is a great way to kind of open up the spine, especially if you haven't been moving a lot in the day. That T-spine will get really stuck. And we need good T-spine mobility, especially in extension for all the kipping we do or handstand walks, right? We've got to have a really strong but mobile T-spine. And once you've had enough of that, we can get a few rolls up and down. Just make sure it feels good. Whew. I love this rad roller, this helix is great. Now we're gonna grab your lacrosse ball. We're gonna get to the rotator cuffs. We're gonna focus on infraspinatus which is that muscle on the backside of the scapula, as well as the teres group, which is kind of more to the side, closer to the lat. So a couple options here. I think I'm using my rad kit, but I think I'm gonna use this guy. What I like about the rad kit is it's got this placement here where you can like kind of put the ball in there. It'll hold it for you. But if you're using a regular, pretend like I'm using a regular yoga block. Get these guys out of the way. Flip it over. We're gonna put that ball on the block to give it a little lift. And then I'm going to put the back side of my shoulder blade, on that ball. That is intense. I like the yoga block to lift it a little bit. If you're laying on the ground, you usually can't get enough pressure. With the yoga block, having it lifted, plenty of pressure. Now it's rotator cuff muscles, so we're gonna focus on rotating the arm. You will feel it if you're in the right spot. Oh my gosh. Should do this more often. Yikes, this is bad. It's gonna be spicy. Especially when you go this way, that's when that muscle is gonna contract and really push into that ball. We're just gonna soften up that infra. Oh goodness. You're on the back side of the shoulder blade, so you're not really in the armpit. You should also not be on any bone. So if it feels like you're on bone, you probably need to move down a little bit. You might be on the spine of the scapula, kind of ridge. And as it starts to loosen up, you're gonna move closer to the armpit. So I'm gonna move more towards that back side of my armpit, the posterior border. And that's gonna be more your teres group. They're also rotators though, so we're just gonna continue to rotate the arm. Keep searching for those spots. There is plenty of them. I'm feeling it from those toes to bar today. Yikes. Just keep rotating that arm. As your movement opens up, you'll find that the movement gets easier, right? It's not as sensitive and you're able to kind of move freely. That's probably a good sign that it's time to move, find a new spot. Here we go. Again, I like having it on a yoga block. It lifts it and it makes it just a little bit easier to get a little more pressure. Now you can also, if you don't have a yoga block, just use on the floor, same thing. You just might not get as much pressure. You might not be able to get as specific, and you might have to roll around a little more, like kind of roll on your back and stuff. So the yoga block is just nice to get it up off the floor. Oh man, this is definitely spicy today. Woo! Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go to the other side. This rad block is honestly great. I love this thing. Highly recommend you get one. You can use code KCRAD. Get you a little discount. Oh my god. What I also like about this rad kit is that the ball is, it's got a little bit of like tack to it, so it doesn't slide away. Like sometimes the lacrosse balls do. They kind of like slide out from your shirt or something. These rad balls are like a little bit like tackier. They're like a little bit stickier. And so they don't run away from you, and you can really get them in some good places without losing them. So starting on the back side again, right? I'm on the shoulder blade on the back side of it. I'm just rotating the arm. If you really want, you can try to lift the arm. That's a little advanced even for me. And I'm used to digging things into my muscles. Try to find those trigger points, right? You'll know it. You may even feel the pain kind of refer to the front of the shoulder. That's usually an indication you have a trigger point, especially in the infraspinatus and the teres, because of their attachments onto the humerus and their fascial ties. If they have trigger points and or they're kind of pathological, maybe there's like minor muscle strain or something like that, they usually actually refer pain to the front of the shoulder. And additionally, your bicep, because it also crosses the shoulder, it's a synergist deflection. It's also important for stabilizing the glenohumeral joint. So when your bicep is actually really tight and tender, if you ever roll your bicep out, like with a barbell, it can sometimes be a sign that there might be an issue with like the rotator cuff. Either you need some strengthening or there's malpositioning of the glenohumeral joint. So sometimes pay attention to the bicep. Roll the bicep out if you have shoulder problems. I'm gonna move the ball a little more to the side of the armpit now, get into that teres group. Just kind of, just try to reposition myself. I am feeling those toes to bar. Ay. Messing me up. You can always hold the ball too, but I like to, oh, there we go. Try to get it into a good spot. And just keep rotating that arm. This one's spicy. I can feel this down to my elbow. Woo! It's all this gymnastic stuff. Some of these muscle ups, these toes to bar, killing me. Get a little bit longer, oh my gosh, on these teres group. Remember, the more you do this, the better it'll get. It'll get less sensitive the more you work it. And that's usually a good sign, good sign of healthy tissue. After this, you're gonna need either like a box, or you can use the edge of a couch or the edge of a coffee table. You might just wanna put something down to kind of cushion it, like a towel or something. We're gonna do a little lat and kind of teres group PNF, just to further open up the shoulder and the T-spine. Try to work out some of this tension on the back sides of the shoulders. Oh, goodness. Okay, that's enough of that. Whew, that was spicy. All right, so I'm gonna grab a box and we'll get set up for this PNF that we're gonna do. All right, so I got my box set up, ready to go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put our elbows, both of them, on the box, and then we're gonna sink down, chest towards the floor. If you need to go long arms, that's fine. However, I wanna try to bend the elbows and put my thumbs behind my neck, kind of back here, with little prayer hands. That's just gonna put more stretch to the tricep and further open up the backside of the shoulder. Now we are gonna turn this into a PNF, so we're gonna press down into the box for 10 seconds, like I'm trying to push my elbows through this box. Then we'll relax and we'll sink our chest towards the floor, so taking our arms up more overhead, about 15 seconds, and then we'll do it again. So let's go ahead, let's get set up. Elbows on the box, on the edge, prayer hands. I'm gonna walk my feet back, give me a little more tabletop. I'm gonna drop my head between my elbows, thumbs to the backside. Now from here, I'm gonna push down into the box with my elbows while I maintain this position. We're gonna go for about 10 seconds, ready, set, press. You should feel your lats, your core engaged, because you're trying to press down. A little bit longer, make sure you're pushing through both elbows. 3, 2, 1, relax, drop your chest towards the floor, reach your thumbs behind your neck. We're gonna relax for about 15 seconds, and then we're gonna do it again. Each time, you should feel like your chest drops further to the floor after you finish your contraction. Make sure you don't slide off the box. All right, we're gonna do it again, so we're gonna lift just a little bit. Now go ahead, press your elbows down into the box. Use your lats, use your core. Keep pressing. Press a little harder if you can. 3, 2, 1, relax, let it go. Woo! Maybe I can get my head to touch the mat. So relax here again. Again, pushing your thumbs towards the back of your neck. Really try to open up the tricep, the lats, the teres group that are coming from the shoulder. It's also a pretty good T-spine mode, right? I'm getting some good T-spine extension here. We're gonna get one more, so let's back out. We're gonna press elbows down through the box, ready, set, go. Keep pressing. Try to press a little bit harder this time. 3, 2, 1, drop it, let it go. Last stretch. Hopefully by now the shoulders are really opened up. Your hands can touch the back of your neck. Your chest is dropping towards the floor. That T-spine is extended. And then we'll come out of that. Woo! That one's tough, but that is a great way to open T-spine, open the shoulders, especially for stuff like pull-ups, toes to bar, anything where we gotta hit that really big kip, that big arch, arms overhead. So hopefully that helps you guys recover, get the shoulders moving a little bit better, a little less sore, and we'll see you back next week for more fun stuff.